Hello everybody and welcome to the notebook from the last day of testing, the third and final day of testing ahead of the 2025 Formula One season, where we are looking forward to Melbourne, aren't we?
We are definitely.
We are talking to some legends today and some rookies, and one of the legends, in fact the man who was fastest yesterday, and never let it be said that we're not just lazy media responding to whoever was quickest the previous day. No, not us.
What's up?
What kind of team have you found at Williams?
I found a team that is extremely driven, motivated, and full of energy to bring themselves back to the front. And this is exactly what I wanted to see, and exactly why I chose this route, because even though I think obviously I'm taking a step back in terms of results, what to expect in the next couple of years in my career, at least I wanted to make sure that I'm into a team that is full of energy to try and be successful again. And I'm going to focus on helping that and making that process as short as possible.
Well, don't speak too soon, Carlos, because, all right, you might not be winning races with this car, although anything is possible in Formula One. But from the pace it has shown so far, you could be right at the top of the midfield, and then, it could be podiums on a good day.
Yeah, I don't know yet if we are top, middle of the midfield, because the last 2 tenths of the car, you don't know how many people are showing it. But that would mean progress compared to last year, and progress is all I want to see and feel in the team. I think it's important for Williams to keep showing a positive upwards trend, and if we manage to at least be on that top half of the midfield, that would mean definitely progress.
Are you getting used to full English breakfasts again at your F1 team?
I love that. For me, that's one of the best things English food has.
Really?
But one of the only good things English food has. But no offense, guys. I love porridge
like
too.
You.
I love baked beans, good bacon. But that's it.
Sophisticated like you.
Fish and chips can be good
not
sometimes.
Been out in any major city in the UK and some.
I
of
love the
UK,
we've got. But for other reasons.
Okay, good. Yes, Scotland particularly.
Scotland is similar.
Yes. For the golf.
I'm spending a lot of time in Scotland recently.
For the golf.
Yeah.
And what's it like with the Mercedes engine? Is this the first Mercedes engine you've ever driven in F1?
That is correct. 10 years in F1, and this is my first year in a Mercedes engine.
Different.
The crazy thing about it is the first 10 laps in Abu Dhabi, when I tried it, everything felt completely different and really weird, because you're used to different noises, used to different vibrations, throttle applications, engine brakings, everything is completely different. But then I think it's a Formula One driver thing. You just adapt. As soon as you do 10 laps, you just know what's going on, and you get used to it, and you forget about it.
Good. Well, I know you won't forget about it, because it's going to be powering you and Alex to some very interesting racing this year. So thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank
See you
you.
in Melbourne.
See you there.
And we're going to catch up with young Oscar in your old team, the Maccas. Thank you, Carlos. Good day.
Good day, Ted.
How are you? All right.
I'm good. Started the season off on the right note.
Good. How's your test been? Because I get the feeling you've had the sort of worst of the weather conditions a bit. You've been a bit unlucky, a bit of the rain.
I mean, it's been going reasonably well. I think the rain yesterday was obviously a slight spanner in the works for everybody that did the morning session, but I think we still completed pretty much everything we wanted to, which was good. And no, I feel like it's been going well. It's been going smoothly, and yeah, I've been focusing on ourselves, which is, I think, a really good thing.
How is the car different, and is there any reason why you can't challenge for the World Championship this year?
Hopefully, it's just faster. It feels very familiar from last season. I think we obviously had a strong car, especially in the second half of last year, and I think it's more a continuation of that. So it feels pretty good. There's still some things to try and iron out and improve, which is natural at this point of the year. But I definitely think that, of course, the aim is to challenge for the championship and win from the start. But no, I think we're in a good place.
Good stuff. Good to hear it. We'll see you in your hometown of Melbourne in but a few days. Thanks very much. So Kimi, here we go. End of testing, last day. How's it been?
I mean, first of all, it feels weird that next time we're on track is gonna be for racing, Melbourne. But I think it was a positive test. I felt good with the car. Still some work to do though, of understanding the car and the tire especially. But overall, I felt it was pretty positive.
And do you think it's going to be the tyres? Because you're well used to the demands of Formula One now,
Yeah.
but maybe some of the tyres and the compounds that we get at different races is
Yeah, definitely the tire is gonna be the main thing. I mean, already the race tire compared to test tire are very different.
Yeah.
Especially the working range is completely different.
Yeah.
So, there's still a lot to learn. I mean, last night I did a full race distance and I tried the C2 and C1 for the first time. Never got to feel the tire. So it was a good learning, also to feel how the tire behave, how it degrades. So, still some work to do, especially on that side. But, I have to do it while racing, but I think it's going to be really exciting.
Okay, well, exciting for us as well. We're all really excited to see you out there. You have this amazing kind of acrobatic, aggressive style on track. And is this car, the W16, able to reward you in that, to allow you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty confident. This morning I felt really confident to push the car to the limit. And, the feeling was good. So, of course, the car gives you good confidence. There's still some learning to do about the car, and still on my side, learning how much further I can push it. But I think the start was good.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Kimi.
Thank you.
What are the next few days and what does the next week look like to you? I think you've got an event in Milan introducing the drivers to the Tifosi, is that right?
Yes, we have a big event in Milan, which will be really cool to because I mean the last time I've done such a big event in Milan was probably in 2019. I think we did something in
With Seb,
Piazza Duomo, which was very, very impressive, and I'm sure it will be just as impressive this year. So on that, I'm looking forward to, and then a lot of work apart from this event. Of course, quite a lot of laps on the simulator. Try and find the last details that will make a difference once in Melbourne. Now we know what exactly the car feels like in reality, so we can also do a good correlation with how it feels on the simulator and start working even more into the details on the simulator. So this is going to be the priority until Melbourne.
Okay. And what are your feelings about Melbourne? Because this is a very rear-dominated sort of track, isn't it? The rear tyres tend to be the defining factor. But Ferrari has a very good recent record in Melbourne. What are your thoughts particularly on the car you'll need at that track?
I don't know, it's a very specific track as well, so I don't think it will be very representative for the rest of the year. However, we've been competitive in the last 2 years there, and I hope it will continue that way this year. But yeah, I mean, it's a city track, so it's always quite difficult to understand and to anticipate the grip that we'll find once we'll be in the on the track. So this will have to wait and see when we are there. But for now, we've got quite a few things to work on before getting there. So we'll finish the weekend or the 3 days in the right manner with Lewis driving and hoping to have a bit more data.
And finally, one of the other rookies in Formula One this year, it's Gabriel Bortoleto. Am I not pronouncing Gabriel? Is it Gabriel Bortoleto?
Well, that's how we say it in Brazil, but I'm fully fine with Gabriel as well. Gabriel in Italian, so
Bibi?
it's all good. Bibi, oh,
Gabi?
Yeah, Bibi, it's close friends in Brazil. I don't know how you
Only for
discovered
close
that,
friends.
actually.
Well, I thought it was Gabby and Bibi. I think, well, I like to research my drivers.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
you are going to be a star, I think, in F1. Of course, a winner in F3, a winner in F2 as well. And now F1, how are you finding it so far?
Very good. It's good to be on track with the F1. It's also good I didn't had, let's say, a year out of racing.
Which can happen.
That it happened before, But I think results in F3 and F2 pushed a lot to get the seat immediately, thanks to Mattia that is there. So yeah, super happy with the opportunity. Excited to the season to start. A lot of work has been done in the winter, and now this 1.5 days of testing for me were also positive. So yeah.
Good. Well, listen, have a great season. The car is where the car is, but there are great things ahead with Audi, and Brazil hasn't had a world champion since Ayrton in 1991.
True.
I checked the other day. Felipe came close. You could argue
Yeah.
Rubinho came close as well.
Yeah, very close. Yes. Well,
But,
both of them. But now we need to work. It's just the beginning, right?
I know. I'm not.
No, but I like it. You know, we need to dream big always.
big, exactly.
And but we need to work even harder because that's where we achieve the results, I believe, right? So, but yeah,
Great.
very good.
Listen, Gabriel, thank you very much. We'll take
Thank
that
you.
from you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very
We're going to be
much.
seeing a lot of you, I know, for the next year. But we're going to be seeing a lot of everybody else as well. So after the break, we'll let you know how everything shook out on this, the final day of testing here in Bahrain. Hiya, welcome back to the third and final day of the testing here in Bahrain ahead of the 2025 season. And that's it. That's it. Next stop, Australia, Melbourne, Australia, hometown of Oscar Piastri. But what a day we've had. What an eventful day we've had. The tyres are coming off. The wheels came off, not literally, but oh, Mercedes have got an early flight. Where do you think you are, second or third?
Somewhere behind McLaren, not sure where.
Well, that we know. Second or third?
Let's say third, and then we might have a nice
Oh,
surprise.
I think you might be second. We had 3 red flags today. One for some glass breaking, one for a bus on track. It was the media shuttle bus, not ours. And one for a marshal not in position. And I don't think we had a red flag for a car blowing up or crashing for the whole 3 days. So well done for the teams for reliability. And it's left us in quite an interesting position going into Melbourne because McLaren are clearly ahead. Let's do them first. And the question mark is whether it's Mercedes on a good day second, Ferrari on a good day second, or Max Verstappen on a good day second. Maybe Liam Lawson on an amazing day second. But it could be that tight. It is that tight. But let's do McLaren first. Their lap times don't count for anything today. Lando Norris, for what it matters, in the morning was P11 and 57 laps. Oscar Piastri, 84 laps and P4. Aero work for Lando in the morning. They're a bit more data gathering and doing some tests on various setups. The weather wasn't great. The weather was, McLaren found, was the most difficult of the week, actually, due to even though it was sunnier, I didn't really need a jacket today. But the mechanic's still wearing shorts. It was shorts. It was almost shorts weather today, actually. But it's got quite brisk now, and the weather was pretty bad. So the weather conditions actually made for a slower track by far of the 3 days, which is just an idiosyncrasy of how much the weather does affect these cars. The Oscar did do a race simulation in the afternoon, which Lando didn't, because he did his yesterday. Then did some low fuel stuff. That's why Oscar was P4 and Lando was P11. They had the red flags with everybody else, but McLaren go into the Australian Grand Prix targeting a 1-2 finish. Yes, a 1-2 finish. Obviously, it depends on where they qualified, depends on what Max Verstappen can do, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, they could all get amongst it. But McLaren are clear favourites, and then it's real, you couldn't get a credit card in between the next lot. But Ferrari on a bad day could be fourth. But let's do them. Despite Lewis Hamilton being upbeat and liking where the car is and feeling comfortable with it, which is great for him, just came out of a Charles Leclerc press conference that you might have seen some bits of in the roundup and in the first part of my notebook. And Leclerc says we have work to do. He's going to spend lots of the time in the simulator trying to find something for Melbourne. But they go well in Melbourne. This is a track that's a bit rear limited. It's a positive front end of the car on this Ferrari. It's so difficult to tell. It was okay today. P9 for Charles Leclerc, P6 for Lewis Hamilton, 47 laps for Hamilton, 66 laps for Leclerc. In the morning, Leclerc tried different setups, struggled a bit. The car's not yet in the right window. Lewis Hamilton in the afternoon, 47 laps, also trying to get the car into the right place on setup. Melbourne is a very difficult track, said Leclerc. He's going to do lots of sim work. The McLaren is strong, and we have some work to do. There's going to be a day where they're going to be in Milan on the 6th, introducing the team and the car and the drivers to the Tifosi, which say it's going to be nice. Fred Vasseur also says that the car's redesigned. Do you remember 3 days ago telling you about how they've redesigned this car, this Ferrari, thinking that it's got a higher ceiling with the changes that they've made, but they might have some way to get there, and so it has proved. But Vasseur, the team boss, saying that they think they can get more out of this than they would have done had they just stayed with what they had, the design they had. So this has a higher ceiling. This car, this design, the data tells Ferrari, has a higher ceiling than what they would have done if they'd have just stayed with what they had. So that is at least as good news, but they could be anything. They could be, there's Max, the world champion. And it could be anything from, second to fourth, quickest team. And Max in the Red Bull, you just know they're going to get it right. Yes, they're behind McLaren, so Max could be on the podium. And if, in fact, in that Bahrain Grand Prix, the mythical one today, George could have been third, Kimi Antonelli could have been third behind the two McLarens, but equally, Max Verstappen could have easily been third. And you know that Red Bull will get it right. Various different stories coming out that Max wasn't particularly impressed with the car. It was an improvement, but not much of one. But other stories saying that Red Bull are clearly ahead of Ferrari, so take that how you want to. But today, it was 81 laps for Max Verstappen, P2 in the end, just pipped for P1 in the end by George Russell's Mercedes. See, it is that close. Max all day. They brought a new nose and new front wing and tried it out. Did a quali run. First of all, did a 30.1 on the C3, and then did a race run, and then did some more performance runs and did a low 29 on at the end. That is nice. Look, some stickers. Well done, sir. Nice touch, handing out the Max 4 stickers to the kids there. Very nice. Liam Lawson. Yes, getting used to the car. Yes, he said that there's a different way you need to drive this car, which I thought was interesting. Interesting way of putting it. Is Lawson going to be quicker than Red Bull's previous second driver, Sergio Perez? They certainly hope so. They believe he's quick enough to be within that 0.2, 3 tenths of a second. But in this grid, 0.2, 3 tenths of a second could see even Lawson being 8th, 9th on the grid, so will that be of much help for Verstappen? Will Verstappen need it? Do Red Bull just think, well, it's much easier now if you haven't got Sergio Perez, hoping to be world champion himself, Liam Lawson knowing his place in the nicest possible way, then that might be just easier for Max Verstappen to be completely the focus of the team without annoying Sergio Perez, and with all due regards to his ability, than just saying to Liam, look, enjoy your first year, but we're going to go with Max for the championship. There's nothing said. I believe more that Max could win the drivers' championship, bearing in mind, what we've seen here, given that can be the focus when, there has to be a sort of focus maybe on the Constructors' Championship here at Ferrari. Right, that's Red Bull done. Mercedes, are they second? Are they third? Are they fourth? They could easily be second, as they said. Kimi Antonelli, 61 laps and P10, but George Russell, P1, 90 laps and first in the timing. Did a qualifying sim this morning with a good lap and did Kimi Antonelli, but had a flat battery, so didn't actually complete it and had to change that bit of the power unit, so lost some time there, about an hour. And then George Russell did a race simulation. He did a performance run, then a race simulation in the evening. It was pretty good. I'm going to crunch the numbers with Bernie Collins on the plane on the way home. And then we'll let you know on our preview show on the 7th of March how George's race looked like. But 90 laps and P1, quickest on the end on the C3 tyre, not trying anything weird. A bit of a weird thing going on with illness, which compromised Aston Martin's day. Lance Stroll had a difficult night. I don't know whether it was food poisoning or he had a fever or a cold or something like that, but didn't get much sleep. Fernando Alonso ran the car in the morning. Lance tried in the afternoon, but really wasn't up to it. And then Fernando came in. Clearly, it would have been better if they just said to him, or Lance said, look, Fernando, take the whole day. They didn't have to change the car over. Obviously, there's a change in height. There's difference in heights, different in seat and pedals and everything. So they wasted, I'm afraid is the right word for it, time. There's Andy Cowell coming down the stairs, Rob, with putting one driver in and one the other. But, they wanted to give Lance a go. But given the illness, it wasn't possible. Alonso did 82 laps in the end. Lance only 34. Alonso's P16 because he was trying race runs. And Lance Stroll P13 and 34. So Fernando very nicely swapped in and then out again. They have cured some of the ills of last year's car. Some places the Aston Martin is still unpredictable. It seems to be better, but here is another team that could easily be 9th quickest in the order on a bad day, but then could be 5th around Williams, Aston, Alpine if they have a good day. So it's that close. But on a bad day, Aston, so say some of the GPS tracers and people who are analysing the lap times, Aston could be 9th, second only last to Sauber. So it is that tight. Right, let's go over the page because we've got left 5 minutes. Alpine and JD, still a solid day for Jack Doohan, still trying to get his eye in, and a bit of a way to go still, so I think his home race in Melbourne is going to be a little difficult or challenging if you want to be more charitable. P12 and 61 laps. Gasly 83 laps and P5, so a nice little performance run at the end. Quite a straightforward day for Pierre Gasly. The car, he said, is pretty much improved. It's got good low-speed traction, which didn't really last year. The engine deficit, if there is one, is minimised, so that's good news for Alpine. And did a qualifying run, but I think had a bit more fuel in it. Did a good 30.0 for P5. So yeah, not so bad for Alpine. Some people are having them 5th. Some people are having them 6th, but I think it's very close with Williams. Where Haas going to be? Probably 7th behind that, which is about where they were. Esteban Ocon wanted to do a performance run today and was P8. Ollie Behrman was well down because he had an engine cover come off and they needed to figure out exactly what was going on with that. So it's a compromised morning, Ollie in the engine cover, but better in the afternoon with Esteban Ocon, 102 laps. So once they understood why the engine cover was flying off and some bits of carbon fibre with it, they were much better. So it looks like Haas are going to be right behind the Alpines and the Williams and potentially ahead of the Aston Martins. Ooh. Racing Bulls, pretty straightforward day for them. They seem to be slightly behind Haas, but we'll see whether Yuki Tsunoda can bring out some spectacular laps when we get to Melbourne. And 73 laps for Isaac Hadjar today in P15, 86 laps for Yuki Tsunoda and P7. There you go, you see there is some pace in that Racing Bulls for Yuki Tsunoda. Alex Albon all day, and he ended the day 3rd fastest after doing a qualifying simulation on qualifying fuel and the C4 tyres, one of the only drivers to try the proper softs. Not the C5 or the C6 because they're not really a factor around here because it's hard on tyres, but it was a C4 tyre and he went quickest at the time but then dropped down after Russell and Verstappen improved. And I thought that was interesting, didn't you, that what Sainz said about the engines, that he felt that it was different when he first tried it, but he's now got used to it, which I think is probably exactly what would happen. Versatile driver that he is, but it was nice to talk to him earlier, even though he had no time for my nonsense, didn't he? Straight to the point. Quite right. Put me in my place. And finally, Sauber, who are fairly and squarely at the back because, that's just the way where they are. Do we have a driver around here at the back of Sauber? Not sure if we do. But lovely to meet Gabriel Bortoleto earlier, or Gabrielle, or Bibi, or Gabby. Isn't he nice? And I've got high hopes for him because I think he's a true star of the future. Not to say that Nico Hülkenberg isn't, but you know what I mean. But Bortoleto, P17, Hülkenberg P14, 69 laps for Hülkenberg and 35 laps for Bortoleto as they continue to learn about this car. But it does seem that they are still at the back while they wait in this interim year while they focus everything on 2026 and becoming the Audi Works team. But expect them to be Q1 dropouts when we get to the Australian Grand Prix. Right, that is it. Thank you so much for watching these notebooks. Stay tuned for Development Corner, which is next, where Bernie Collins will make you sound like you're interesting to your family. She'll tell you some stuff and tell me some stuff about some of the latest tech in Formula One and explain, which is really good stuff coming up. Then we've got the IndyCar first race of I think it's the NTT series, the IndyCar series from St. Petersburg in Florida on Sunday at 5 p.m. So join Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe and Will Buxton for the commentary for that. And then we have our F1 show preview program on Friday, March the 7th in the afternoon, in the early evening, I think 6 or 7 p.m. I'll be there, Naomi will be there, Martin Brundle, Simon Lazenby, and we'll be looking ahead to the Australian Grand Prix. And then, of course, it's the Australian Grand Prix on the 15th, 16th of March. But thank you so much for watching, and yeah, roll on Melbourne. We'll see you next for Development Corner, and then for the preview show. Bye-bye.
Sky Sports F1.